Carp fly horseshoes, take 1. It's close. All right, take 398. Ooh, that was almost it. What's up, everybody? Sean from Bentwater Anglers, and today we are going to be tying the Squirmy Hybrid. Juicy little carp treat. So let's jump right in. Alright guys, so in the vise right now we have a size 8 Bonio carp hook from Fulling Mill. This is a great hook, very, very sharp and also very, very strong. And so we will be using some UTC in 140, and this is in white. You can use whatever color you like. I like to use the white for these larger size threads just because rather than have a million of them, I'll just use white, use a marker to get the desired color at the whip finish. So gonna capture that on, and then I'm going to just take a little bit of low tack wax here and just give it a little bit on the thread. I like this for this next step. I think it just helps with capturing in these dumbbell eyes. So a few wraps of that just to get a base. And then as far as placement goes, I like to give myself just a little bit of room here behind the eye so that I can just capture my dubbing at the end and have a place to sort of tie it off. All right, so just get these guys in there. Just doing a bunch of figure 8 wraps here. Try to capture it in, and then here I'll just kind of hold on while I do a little bit of a sturdier wrap. Just gonna wiggle that in there, and then a couple wraps to just hold those in place, and I will come in here and then do some more securing wraps. So all I'm doing here, as you guys can see, is just kind of coming up and under the dumbbell eyes like so. So a couple in there, and again, just really hold on to those guys and get that all captured in. So just work your thread back. I like to go just a little bit down the bend, and I'll just capture a few turns there, keep it in place. So for the next step, we're just going to be using some Peacock Ice Dub. Great stuff, especially just a great alternative to using real peacock herl, which can be very, very brittle and kind of a pain to work with. So just going to grab a huge clump of this stuff and start to loosely dub it on there. And I find I like to give this a little more material than I think I'll need, just so we don't run out at the end. When you're really just banging these flies out, it ends up saving you a lot of time. So got a pretty loose bit of dubbing on there. We're gonna come up here and we'll just make a dubbing loop out of it, capture that off. Not worried about those little scragglers. Just get our thread out of the way, and then we will grab our handy dubbing spinner, give this a good spin. And what that does is essentially just makes a really nice dubbing cord for us, which is gonna help us in a lot of ways. So just do that. Then we're going to throw that into a clip in the back, get it out of our way. And now for the main event, which is this original Squirmy from Fulling Mill. And this is in red, comes in pink and tan as well. You know, all those colors work, so it's good to have all of them. You know, for the hook and that material as well, I'll put a link in the description below. Gone ahead and have taken one out, and this has actually already been used for one fly. Typically what I can do with this is get about 3 flies with pretty minimal waste per piece of Squirmy. As far as my measuring technique goes, what I'll typically do is kind of drape this, and with my vise, I mean, it's going to be different with everybody's vise, but this is a peak vise, great vise, but I'll just drape it so that it hits this ridge here, and then just sort of capture here behind the eyes, or the eyes. And then what I found is, if you notice, I'm just going to keep my index finger here and then just do a few really loose wraps. And what that does is keeps the material from going all over the place, just lets me get a few wraps to capture it, and then as soon as I lift up on this, oh wow, it didn't that time. Most times, well, there you go. It'll just jump and do whatever it wants. So just doing a few very loose wraps back there just to capture this in. This is another reason why I like to use the 140 on this fly. I think that the wider thread just helps you be able to work with this material. So happy with that, captured in. I've got enough wraps that I'm confident I'm going to go ahead and pull quite a bit of tension on this material and then just clip that out of there. That way you don't end up with a kind of unruly butt end there to tie in. So a few wraps again just to capture that. So at this point what we'll do is we'll move our thread forward, throw a little bit of a half hitch in because we will use our rotary for this next step. And get this braid out. So I will typically come in and just do a wrap with the braid. That way I'm just ensuring that from now on I am going to be using the braid as I work forward. And the whole reasoning behind this, and at least my theory behind it, is I found that with this material, if you're able to use something a little bit of a thicker diameter to really capture it in, you know, obviously we've tied it in up here with the thread, and that's fine, but to use a thicker material to really truly capture this, it's just going to increase the durability. If I were to just use thread back here and tighten it up, you know, I've had these fall apart just from casting when I've done things like that, so just kind of altered how I do it, and this way of doing it seems to be far more durable, and the flies seem to last quite a bit longer. So that's the whole reasoning behind it, and also I think once you get into sort of production mode with this, it'll just speed everything up. But I'm just going to do a nice turn back there, just make sure it's kind of sitting how I want it. And if you notice when I did that, I just pulled on the material a little bit, and by doing that, it's just going to make wrapping this up much easier. If you were to leave it as regular thickness, what it'll do is kind of protrude and get all crazy and make just doing successive wraps quite tough. So just give it a little bit of tension, and you can see I've got a pretty flat material to work with now. So I can go ahead and just take advantage of my rotary. And again, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this, you know, I'm just capturing it in. And we'll just get this up to here. And now we'll pull our thread back, come underneath. I like to go one under, two over, do that twice just to really capture materials in. I will just stick this in the clamp back here, get it out of our way. All right, so next step, and I am a big fan of this step because it helps me sleep at night rather than just tying a worm and some Peacock Ice Dub. What we're going to do is we're going to add a soft hackle here just behind the eyes. And whether or not it's crucial, I'm not sure, but it certainly makes me feel better. And so all I've done is I've just taken this and I've just pulled these fibers back and just revealed the tip there. I'll come in, I'll clip this, just get that little triangle, and take that, set it just behind the eyes, and we'll just capture it in like so. Get our thread up here as well. I like to use hackle pliers here. You don't have to, but I've found that these Stonfo pliers that have this bit of spring on them, they really help with these more delicate soft hackle materials. So just capturing that in, tried to put a little bit of pressure on it. Some of the fibers got out of control, which we'll just clean up here. But again, just capture off that stem. We'll get that in there. Now this is the point in the fly where you're gonna, if you stick yourself with this hook, it's gonna be right now, and you're gonna feel it. I just did a little bit, so just be really careful and just get them as well as you can. We're gonna throw some dubbing in there, which is gonna really tidy everything up. I've got a few rogue fibers right there we'll get rid of. So we're getting pretty close here. All we have to do now, I'm just going to take this cord of dubbing that we've got still, sort of palm these back, and then do a good wrap there, and then I'm just going to throw in some figure eights. So come back up and over, and there we go. Capture that off. We'll just do a quick check to make sure we've got good coverage. I'm happy with that. And then, actually, before I cut that, we'll do one more behind and then forward and front. Really lock the front off. So we'll just get that guy out of there. And go ahead and just wrap that on. And now I'm just going to go ahead and give it a bit of a Sharpie marker. Take my red Sharpie marker, just hit it with that, and that'll just give us a red head, which I seem to like for this fly. Just do a few wraps there to work that thread back. And then we'll just capture this like so. Do 2 for good luck. All right, and we'll just clip that out. So there's your Squirmy Hybrid. Never hurts to take a fly like this and just hit it with a brush at the end. Sort of work some of those fibers out. Oh, there we go. Got the tail to do a crazy spin. So, but yeah, guys, great pattern. Whenever I'm out chasing carp, this thing is either on the end of my fly line or certainly in a box with me and waiting in the ranks. But I hope that helped, and I hope you guys got some good tips out of that. And thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you on the water soon.